Welcome to Teacher Nikki's Kitchen, where today I'm going to show you how to make the easiest, most delicious chocolate chip cookies. You know how sometimes chocolate chip cookies, you want to make some, but you haven't taken the time to soften the butter? Well, this is the solution. You get to use melted butter. That's right. Pop it in the microwave for 40 seconds and get it nice and liquefied, and you are ready to go. Before you got here, I turned on my oven to preheat to 350 degrees, and I prepped my pan with parchment paper. Other than that, you're here for the recipe. Let's get started. In Sir Mix-a-Lot, we are going to add 1 stick, 8 tablespoons of melted butter. To this, we are adding a half a cup of white sugar and 1/4 cup of light brown sugar. Break it up a little bit with my whisk. I'm going to take a minute to scrape down the sides to make sure that the butter and sugar are well mixed before we add our other ingredients. Turning down the speed lower so that I can add my egg and vanilla to the recipe. This recipe calls for 1 large egg, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Be sure not to overmix or you'll end up with stiff cookies. I think it would be a good idea to scrape down my wet ingredients again. There, everything is nice and mixed. Now it's time. Now we'll get started on our dry ingredients. In our separate bowl, we're going to whisk together our 1.5 cups of flour. To that, we're gonna add our baking soda and our salt. We're going to mix this so that it is all incorporated. Now that my dry ingredients are ready, I'm going to slowly add them to my wet ingredients in the mixer. Our goal is to have a crumbly dough that can be held together. Give it one more scrape, maybe 5 more seconds, and that will be plenty. Four, 5. Our dough is ready to add our chocolate chips. I am using 3/4 a cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips. And to keep from overworking the dough, I am going to mix in my chocolate chips by hand. Just folding the dough over once I add chocolate chips. My chocolate chips are well incorporated, and it's time for me to make my 12 cookies. Before you got here, I added a piece of parchment paper to a cookie sheet. We're going to roll the dough into 12 large balls. If I was making extra large cookies, then I would only have 9 balls that were larger. Rolling it in my hand. This is about the right size. Maybe I should show you. Get a scoop about this much and roll it between my palms. Three more to go. These are going into the oven for about 9 to 11 minutes. Start checking at the 7-minute mark because you do not want them to overcook. You want to get them out just right. So we're adding these to our 350-degree oven. What kind of cookies do you think Santa Claus likes to eat? Is it chocolate chip? Is it sugar? Is it snickerdoodle? Have you ever left cookies out for Santa? What kind of cookies did you leave? Let me know in the comments below. Funny thing about growing up is my dad decided that Santa would enjoy his favorite dessert better than cookies. So when I was growing up, we left out an apple pie for Santa. I'm sure he was excited to have something a little different on his Christmas Eve trip. Do you leave something unique for Santa? I'd love to know that too. These cookies are the best because they are so soft. They don't turn into crisp cookies that are elevated with milk. They are soft and fluffy and pillowy just the way they are. We're gonna let our cookies cool for about 10 minutes before we transfer them to a cooling rack. We're ready to move our cookies over to the cooling rack. The parchment paper really helps keep our cookies non-stick. Look at what you get. You get a buttery, fluffy chocolate chip cookie. Delicious and soft and easily made in 15 minutes. Then all you have to do is cool. I hope you've enjoyed learning how I make chocolate chip cookies on the fly. The thing that makes it on the fly is that I didn't have to soften butter. They work well with melted butter. If you try this recipe and it works out well for you, let me know in the comments below. I hope you've enjoyed learning how I make chocolate chip cookies, and I will see you next time in Teacher Nikki's Kitchen. Bye.